You touched on the Brad Sewell incident, and obviously that would end up being your last game. What are your memories of that day and the moment? And did you know once you hit that was it?
I hadn't played for 5 weeks leading into that game. I went up against Richmond, late in the year for a mark, and I came down and I bruised my heel, and I couldn't put a footy boot on after that. So that's how painful the bruised heel was. So I knew my days were done with Essendon, but my dream was to lead Essendon into a final series. And going into that game, it was Hawthorn Essendon. Whoever won made the final. So I was able to pass a fitness test under a fair bit of pain still. Every time I turned, I felt like a knife was being jammed into my heel. So I wasn't fit. I wasn't, as I said, in a great mindset. But I wanted to play finals, and I wanted to play one more time for the Bombers. And we were flat for whatever reason, with so much at stake. The team was super flat, and we were down by 4 goals at halftime. They had no Lance Franklin, they had no Jared Ruffhead, they had some key players out, and we were raging favourites to win that game. And when we got in at halftime, Nida went really hard, and I felt like I was the brunt of a fair bit of it, and I was playing poorly, so you got to expect to cop it a little bit. I'd only had a handful of possessions. And we're walking up the race, and Nathan Lovett-Murray was one and said, "We're just that flat, Lloydie. We're just flat." And he just said to me, "I reckon you're the man. Like, you're the one that is the one that can turn this around." And he wasn't meaning anything. That he was like, whether that's just a goal or it could be to razz the group up. We just need something. So Sam Mitchell was really troubling us with his mastery around stoppage. So my aim was to come off the line. Hopefully, it was either I could get him then with a big tackle, or there could be another ball up. And I was going to just try and razz Sam Mitchell up to try and stimulate the players. But it just happened that we won the stoppage. And so McVeigh dribbled it forward, and Brad Sewell was coming my way. And I knew that if you hit someone in the head, the rules are the same as they are now, you're gone. So I tried to lower, didn't lower enough. My shoulder hits him in the cheekbone, and he was in a seriously bad way.
Yeah. Well, I know you've seen this a million times. Yeah.
So I knew exactly what I was doing. Didn't want to hit him in the head. I did want to hurt him. I wanted to hurt him straight down the front, down the chest. And then you go into survival mode. Like, they were coming at me from all parts. And for the next 2 quarters, it was old school football where they were going up. Chance Bateman actually knocks me out with a big round arm. Round arm late in the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Adam McPhee's never ever far from these
no.
Yeah, you always said the blonde 33.
So, and then the story afterwards was, as I said, we kicked the next 8 goals, so it certainly got the response. They were rattled. I was rattled, but our players responded to it. But late in the game, I could sense that there was real venom towards me from the Hawthorn fans. Spectators were working their way down to the front rows, and they were screaming at me and all that sort of thing. And I thought to myself, am I safe for finishing on the bench? And then I thought to myself, it'd look pretty weak if I did that after what I've just done.
Yeah.
So the siren goes, all the players are okay towards me. But then as I hand a footy to a kid, I turned back around, and that's when Clarko and I locked eyes. And he was just working his way into my direction. He said, "You better not effing retire, because we want to see you next year." And then he tried to work his way towards me physically, where Mark Evans, the footy bosses, have to physically push him away from me. Got down into the rooms. Boys were pumped. We're playing finals. I'm in the shower. I see police, and they said, "Get out of the shower." And the police said, "We need to escort you to your car because there's so many people, Hawthorn people, there's venom towards you. We've got to help you get to your car." And then they escorted me to my car, and it was 1 to 7. I turned on the radio. And they said, it was Hamish McLaughlin on Triple M, and he said, "It's been a massive day at the MCG, one of the biggest and emotional days we've seen, but we'll give the final word to Campbell Brown, who's just spoken moments earlier." And he said, "Matty Lloyd's been one of the biggest snipers for a long time. His time is coming, and so we want to see him next year as well." And so, and then to fast forward, during that week, I got 6 weeks. I took an early plea to 4 weeks. And then we're in a pub. The boys got knocked out, got beaten by 90 points by the Crows, and we're in a pub. I got a tap on the shoulder, and Tommy Bell Chambers, he goes, "Have a look at the door." and there was Campbell Brown, Hodgie, Lewis, all walking into the same pub as us. So
That's not the three you want.
Tommy Bell, and Tommy Bell Chambers again. I said to him, "I'm not a fighter," and his response was, "Hey, just throw one and let me take care of the rest." So anyway,
Just throw one.
So because he was looking forward to it, big Tommy. So I'm holding the drink in one hand. I've got the arm ready to go, and then he just puts his hand out, Hodgie, and he just says, "Hey, I just want to let you know we've embarrassed ourselves as a club the last week." He said, "What happens on the field should stay on the field. Sour grapes, in my opinion, that we lost a game of footy, and in some we haven't handled ourselves too well. So let's just enjoy a good afternoon." So it must have been a mentally absolutely exhausting period.
Of course.
The club was desperately trying to get me to keep playing. They offered me a new contract. I knew I was done.
Dermy give you a call?
Yeah, and that's right. I missed that. So I received had the same number for 20 years, and I was receiving sometimes I still get it now where you get people who ring and abuse you or just silly stuff. They've had a few drinks and like sitting around at home and they'll just say stuff. But I've never wanted to change my phone number, and I was getting that much abuse, and it was some abusive calls about what I did. And then I've got one from James Hird. James Hird said, "Hey, Lloydie, I was in the crowd today. Don't go to many games anymore, but something needed to change." And that was one of the great acts of leadership that I've seen by a Bomber player. And then the second one was, "Hey, Lloydie, it's Derm." He said, "I hate Essendon," but he said, "It was one day I wish I was wearing the red and black with what you did today." He said it was amazing. So,
and that's come from the man who pushed the line in the sand as well.
I know it didn't surprise me that Derm loved it because of the way he played the game. But they were probably two calls that helped get me through. But things happen for a reason. So the night they played Adelaide in the losing final the week after, my wife's waters broke, and I was watching the last quarter of the game while we're having our second child. So I was able to see the birth of our second child the night they lost that following week.